The impact that Mike Vrabel has made in Foxboro is palpable. It puts him aside with an elite class of coaches in New England, becoming one of only 6 coaches to ever tally a winning record with the Pats in their first year in charge. It's been that good and it's that fast. And nobody can tell us more about it and more about what's happening right now than Tom Curran, NBC Sports Boston, longtime Patriots insider. Tom, appreciate your time this morning. Full transparency, Caroline and I both, before we were here, both did stints in Nashville. We were both around Vrabel a lot. Like, he's an interesting dude. What has been the key to this turnaround from Mike so quickly?
Well, we could start with the players and the coaching staff and that concrete stuff. Drake Maye being a player who has really elevated, obviously, because I think in large part because of the coaching and the structure that Mike has brought in. But when you bring back the number of experienced coaches that Mike brought back and have a specific plan in place for each player and for each position group, that's going to happen. Plus, if you import talent on the offensive line, which was a non-starter for about 3 or 4 years consecutive, you couldn't even run the offense. So that's one aspect of it. But from your time there, you probably realize that Mike is simultaneously impatient and organized. And he was very impatient in explaining the expectations that he had for this team, what he wanted to see, what he was going to prioritize. And in the past couple of years, and that goes back to Belichick too, the urgency was not present. You know, in 2022, when the Patriots had the offensive coordinator of the week with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge competing in the offseason, there was no urgency to figure out what they were going to do at that position. And as a result, the team was rudderless. 2023, dysfunctional. 2024 was going to kind of be a foundational year for Gerard Mayo. So what Mike has done is he's come in and he's installed an urgency in the players and really a blueprint of here's what we're going to do this year.
Impatient but organized, I think, is a great way to put it. And I think the impatience level for Mike Vrabel probably ratcheted up a lot after losing his job in Tennessee. He wanted to prove that he could still do it. So what I like to do, and we like to do here on the show, is give blame pies and credit pies. Which slice and how big of a slice goes to who for the blame and for the credit. So when we look at the credit pie for the New England Patriots being where they are right now, does Drake Maye or Mike Vrabel get more credit in your eyes?
Covered Mike for his entire New England career, was here before he got here. And we used to do this all the time with Brady and Belichick. And what I ended up concluding was Belichick got the first decade. He got 2000 to 2009. And then Brady got the rest. Brady got 2010 through 2018. He got the credit for that. So to me, I will give a bigger slice to Mike because he is the one who brought in the instructions. There will be a point at which Drake's piece grows and grows and grows because he will develop an understanding of how to do it himself, the same way Tom did, the same way great quarterbacks across the league do, or even really good ones. You can let them fly in their own. But I think right now, I would give more credit to Mike because of the stability he's brought in and putting the player in the best position to succeed. And it's a great player, a player who has excelled way more quickly than I thought. And he's probably at a ceiling that I didn't think that he would perhaps ever attain. And that's nuts to say after 11 games of his second season. But you look at the stats and you're like, how can you be this good this quick?
Well, and to that point, Tom, you know, I talked to somebody that was in Josh McDaniels' offense for years, and they told me, look, for all the years they played in the NFL, they never had anything that was more of a foreign language than McDaniels' offense. It's wildly complicated. So what have we learned about Drake Maye in this process that he's been able to pick up this offense and execute it so efficiently, so quickly?
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, I think, to an extent. If you're asking me specifically, personally, what did I learn? Because he's so aw shucks. And he starts every answer with that kind of draw. Yeah, he's friggin'. And I looked at what he did at Carolina, and what impressed me the most about him was not his acumen. What impressed me the most was his mental and physical toughness. But it was a team that went 7-4 in his final year there, his sophomore year. And they staggered down the stretch. And you watched all this. I watched every throw and every run. I said, he's not accurate enough yet. He's a project. He's got skill, but he's going to be a long work process. So obviously his mental acumen is way beyond what I anticipated. And he's not a guy that spends a lot of time in the locker room grab assing with us. He does his business and gets the hell out, which is good. That's preferable if you're a fan. But as a result, I don't know enough about him. I don't know a lot about him. So I'm only going on podium and secondhand recitations of how smart he is, but clearly not a dummy.
Yeah, absolutely not. And you bring up the Tom Brady and Bill Belichick years, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, any New England Patriots quarterback will be compared to Tom Brady. We've seen that with Drake Maye. I've seen all the edits on TikTok. I've seen all the conversation on Twitter. So I'll ask you, in your opinion, are the Drake Maye comparisons to Tom Brady a fair comparison?
Sure, I think every single quarterback in the league should be compared to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, in so many respects, is the 100 level of something. So how much does that player fill the 100 level? Drake has already got, certainly more athleticism and speed. I don't think he's physically tougher than Brady. I don't think I've ever seen anyone physically tougher than Brady. And if you're wondering why I say that, just roll back one of those Tom Brady hits tapes and watch the absolute thrashing that he took. Maybe he will be, but I think that you should always compare those guys to Brady everywhere, whether it's Stafford, whether it's Flacco, whether it's Burrow, whether it's Josh Allen. But to me, I think those are physical attributes we would compare. What kind of work ethic does a player bring would be another one. What kind of competitor are you? How do you play in the stretch? How quickly do you calm the game down? And that to me was something I thought Drake would struggle with, was calming the game down, because he did not do a good job of it in 2024, nor did he do it really well, believe it or not, in the offseason and the first 3 games of the year. And then it did. So God bless him. But yeah, I think they're all fair. Do you guys think they're fair? I think they're fair.
I think when you've had unparalleled success, it's hard not to have unparalleled success in that same jersey constantly be talked about. But that, Tom, like, to me, brings me to sort of like what cloud is over the organization, if any, now based on the greatness of before. Like, it just feels like, is it tough for this group of guys to go out and just be this group of guys when they're in Patriots jerseys, considering what the last group of guys did?
It's a great question, and Vrabel did an awesome job answering that a couple of weeks ago, because he goes, what history? We won 4 games the last 2 years. What are you talking about? And he's right. They've sucked. They've been an embarrassment. They had no dismount for Brady. Bill really was so detached and really just checked out on how to make sure that he stayed at the top of the league in terms of draft and free agency and player evaluation and planning, that they turned into one of the worst teams in the league. So their history, it's like being a Knicks fan or something like that and talking about the Willis Reed years. I mean, you can equate it that way. And I know it's more recent, or like a Cowboys fan and looking back at 1993 and saying, tradition, come on.
I can hear Mike Vrabel saying that in his voice in a very dismissive
good
tone. I've heard that diction before from a Mike Vrabel press conference. You mentioned that Bill Belichick, you thought he was checked out. You really think that Bill Belichick had kind of just checked out from this Patriots team?
I think that Bill, when I say checked out, I think his intensity level at the age of 70 was not what it was at the age of 50. And I think if you look at the decision to move on from Brady, if you look at the free agent acquisitions, for instance, after 2021, and 2021 was no bed of roses, but trades for Devontae Parker, moving on from Jacoby Myers to bring in Juju Smith-Schuster, the drafts, the second round picks and the first round picks that were horrendous, the no plan for an offensive coordinator in the second year of Mac Jones. When Mac was perceived to be disloyal in Bill's eyes, he was basically in 2023 exiled, and Bill didn't talk to him anymore. That to me is is not somebody who's putting winning at all costs at the forefront of their priority list. So, I mean, you could say, okay, well, everybody's going to go through a down period. But this was a down period that wasn't caused by happenstance and bad luck. It was really bad management. And as a result, that's why I said I use the words checked out. And I guess I should tailor it to checked out from the things that had made the Patriots so good.
With that in mind, Tom, we as a society spend so much time outside the buildings talking about Bill and the Patriots. And we ask both sides about it all the time. You're around the organization constantly. Do the Patriots still feel any sort of weight from Bill Belichick at this point on their end? Because we certainly have Bill constantly answering questions about it. Where are the Patriots on the Bill side of it?
No, he doesn't. No, the Patriots have really moved on. And I remember, there was a story a couple of weeks ago when Bill was taking on water a little bit at North Carolina, and it was reported, I don't know if it's Diana Rossini, I think, might have mentioned that, the Bills camp thinks that the negativity is coming from Foxboro. The negative stories are coming from Foxboro, and just, they're not. They've moved on. I don't know if they necessarily say, go get him, Bill. I hope you win a national championship down there. But I don't think they wish him ill. I'm sure there's some schadenfreude and people are like, but they're not actively wishing him ill. He would be welcome back here as opposed to what he contended was the case. I'm sure that, and I don't know this, but just knowing Kraft as I've known him for a while, nothing would make him more happy than Bill Belichick to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm coming up this weekend. He's not exiled. Bill isn't. Kraft, as an octogenarian, would love to be able to bury hatchets. And certainly Robert likes a photo op. He'd love the photo op of him and Bill arms around each other and all's fine. So they have moved on. I think that if you bring them up, there are emotions that are, summoned, but on a day-to-day basis, there's no shadow.
It's no mystery that Bill Belichick's been struggling in the PR department, whether it's coaching at North Carolina or everything with Jordan Hudson off the field, the CBS interview. We all know it. I don't have to go through all of it. Do you think people within the Patriots organization and Patriots fans themselves almost find some sort of satisfaction in the way that Bill Belichick's reputation has changed, for lack of a better word?
No, I don't. I don't think people, no, I don't think people take any satisfaction from it. I think the first reaction is, this really sucks. That's too bad. There might be people who say, well, it wasn't good at the end here, and this is just an outgrowth of it. But I don't think people take satisfaction from it. I mean, like I was saying, I covered him for 24 seasons. I had great relationships with him for a long time until I didn't. I sat in probably hundreds and hundreds of press conferences and asked him thousands of questions. And while by the end I was writing, party's over, it's not working, I don't take any satisfaction in seeing somebody who really, I derived a lot of personal success in my profession because of the work that he laid. I don't feel like, personally, and who cares what a reporter thinks, but personally, I don't derive satisfaction from seeing this guy who was held in such high esteem and succeeded at such a high level to be chopped off at the knees and made the butt of a joke.